네, 삐스는 너.
I finally came to terms with everything that has
It's
happened.
just about the excellence you.
Yeah, the level of excellence that we are striving for, the work that we are doing is on a completely different level. Many times we have heard feedback in regards to our work that never ever again someone saw something like this, even in Silicon Valley.
Come around and help me through my darkest times. Trying to be the only one, gotta meet to the light. Now we see all the problems that I face. Distrust and hate feeling in my lane. Trying to fix all the pain chewing in my brain, but I can't stop with the things that I think all the time. I'm alone every day in my home with a thought in my heart. Got me thinking really hard. Am I really this far gone? Reverse the damage.
Even in Silicon Valley. So back to why are those presentations important? I'll give you just a very interesting example for the audience, especially.
Yeah.
Many people ask, what's the price of a presentation? And in this case, for this video, the price of a presentation is the following story. So we created a presentation for one of our clients. Trust me, you know the brand. There is no way you haven't heard or seen that company. So we created a presentation for them. It was a very big project, 3 or 4 month project, because it was one presentation, then it became one more, then one more, on and on. One of those presentations, 2 or 3 months later, we have a meeting with the guys, and they say, hey, do you know what happened? And we're like, no, obviously, we don't know.
Yeah.
So what happened? So they got invited to present and pitch Google for their client. They went there, and before entering the room, inside of not Google Bulgaria or Google Serbia, the Google, as I like to say, the guys from Google told our client that the deal is already closed and that they actually found a vendor. And this meeting now is more or less fictional. Like it's not going to be taken seriously.
So game is finished before it started for them, right?
Yeah.
In this case.
So they still entered, they pitched Google, and after the presentation ended, 2 or 3 days later, I don't remember exactly the dates, what happened afterwards, the time frame.
Yeah.
2 or 3 days later, Google called them and told our client that they are so impressed by the way they approached them and by the way they presented, because we did something kind of really interesting there, that the deal that they were approaching was closed. Yeah, it was closed. There is no chance for them to win that part of the business. However, because they were, I'm quoting here, Google impressed by the presentation technology behind. Google impressed by the presentation technology behind, which, oh, by the way, behind the scenes was Microsoft PowerPoint. That's a completely different story. They are now willing to give every other team, because it's a support contract, every other team that needs those services to our client. So the first vendor won just one part of the Google infrastructure. Our client won everything else.
Yeah.
Why? Just because of one presentation. So what's the price of a presentation? Well, Google for a client sounds good to me, right? That's kind of,
wow, it's what's the price of the camera, for example? I mean,
I don't know.
What value you extract from it?
Yeah.
That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
And it's but you know what fascinated me? I read your website.
Okay.
It was such a simple message to the potential clients, to everyone that sees it. So you help companies to communicate to the world.
Yeah.
And when I see the word communication, and then I said, wow, important.
Yeah.
Because communication,
Exactly.
if you don't communicate, either through marketing, social media, or so on, it's communication.
Yep.
And you don't exist.
True.
But for presentations, it might have even stronger communicational value at some point, because you communicate to someone that you directly are aiming at impressing, and to create some kind of relationship. We have communications as lawyers. We have presentations of the team, we have presentations of the services,
Yeah.
we have presentation of the process
Of course.
that we send to clients before we have the contract.
Yeah.
So they might be, we might actually benefit from your services.
All of those things
in
are
this regard.
extremely important. Those company presentations, those company decks, those sales pitches, the live presentations that happen inside of a room, all of those could be crucial, simply crucial to anyone's future career or business. You never know who is in the room and what can happen after a single presentation. And I have so many stories about that. It's just mind-blowing what can happen just because you delivered, right? I have like very simple one. I had a story where I believe we were in Italy, and someone from the audience asked me a question that I didn't know the answer to.
All right.
So that's not a problem. Depends on how you handle it, though.
Yeah.
The way you can handle it is to always care about the person. Always care about the person, and always afterwards follow up. If you promise to follow up, as I promised, because I didn't know the answer, and I said I don't know, but I'm really open to find out and just send the answer to you. So this guy comes to me, gives me a business card. I find the answer. I wrote one of those typical lawyers emails, like very long emails, and I send the email. 2 or 3 days later, he replies me, and he's very thankful because I took the time, found the solution, wrote to him, on and on. Turns out that this guy is actually organizing a conference in Germany that's in our field, back then in the IT field. So now guess whether or not I get invited to speak in Germany, just because of our simple email. And that...
you delivered value.
Yeah, and that's that.
But I want actually to go to the history of the company.
Okay.
Because you're single founder, right?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Wow. It was a hell of a journey, and I want to find out about this.
It's yours, yeah.
And I want to say why. Because when you started it, and you said there is not such service.
Yeah,
there was not such service. So you developed the market. You educated the market, which is the one of the hardest tasks that entrepreneur can undertake with any. You can see in the Shark Tank. Sometimes they give feedback to the startups that are in front of that, and they say, you have great product, but you have a non-developed niche.
Okay.
And then you have to educate the market, which is very hard, and it will take you a lot of resources and time. And time, And I want to find out about this part of the process. It's very interesting.
So when I started the company, no one knew they need a presentation. Like that's no.
And you go there and say, you pay me and I'll give you a presentation. I don't need a presentation.
We found out about that from a tweet from a friend of mine. We wanted to deliver a training for them, and he was not able to convince his boss. Because his boss, I'm quoting again here, said, I don't see a problem with our presentations because every single presentation that I see out there is the same as ours.
Oh, wow.
Which means that we are doing it right. So
it's actually an opportunity in this way. When you say that,
depends on how you're thinking.
Yeah. Right? When you say it's like everyone out there, then I can do it somehow better and have this advantage.
Depends on how you approach things, right?
Yeah.
And at this moment, we said to ourselves, the market doesn't know that they need us. And that's a big problem. So the way we approached it was we went one step backwards and said, we need to educate the market, exactly as you said. And so in the first year, I wrote more than 250 blog posts. I spoke at, I don't know, I spoke at as many events as I can possibly imagine. We just delivered so much and we created so much content that 1 year later, we started seeing something. Now it's three and a half years later, there are still people that don't know that they have a problem. So we are always laughing with our accountant that if you are starting a business, you kind of know that you need an accountant, right? That's not the case, or at least that's what we are told, that it's not the case with presentations. Right? If you're starting a business, or if you are having a business or working in a company already, not that many people know that they need a presentation or presentations or proper presentations, or as we like to call them, truly effective presentations. Many times we have heard the line that we are the 17th need of a company, which is completely fine with me. I'm not trying, and we are not trying to sell to the people who are the unsellable. And we are currently in a position where we can choose our quants. We have the history of firing quants because there was no trust between the two parties and the two sides. And when you don't have, like, if we are not trusting each other, it doesn't make sense.
I'm sure you have many funny stories with
quite a lot
impressing quants. Yeah, there was one of
there are a lot of cases where you can just say, wow, it's just mesmerizing what people think it's okay and what actually is okay. One of the latest things that we found out that was not that funny, to be completely honest,
okay.
Was not that funny, was that we were working with the CEO of a very big financial organization, and he asked his people, the VP of business development or whatever, and someone else, to create the story of his own presentation. Like, they are responsible for putting him to creating something, a story for him to present afterwards.
Yeah,
we have done that before. We have played in and we have delivered projects, and we have worked with C-level executives many times, because we also created IPO level presentations, and we know something that's very specific about the C-level executives. Those people are completely different than the others.
Yeah.
They think in a completely different way. The way they approach everything they do is potentially very different than the others around them. So if you are trying to write something that later on will be presented by the CEO, that's a risk. And we told them that. We told them that it's way better for us to work directly with him.
Yeah.
Because it will save time, it will be way more effective, the end result will be better, on and on. And they said, no, we're sure. We know what he wants to say. We warned them for second time. They said, no worries, we know our stuff. Okay. 70, not 17, 70 hours later, they and we are also in the room, and they present what they came up with in front of the CEO. And he says, wow, we are actually very way far away from where we actually started from. So what he gave them was better than what they came up with 70 hours later. And at that point, inside of the room, there was some, let's call it tension. Because when the CEO tells you that nothing works, like everything that those people created is now going to be thrown away, that's not a very pleasant situation, to be completely honest. And that's why we needed to restart the project. 50 hours later, the project was finished and everyone was happy. However, the collaboration was between him and us.
Yeah.
That's not the most funniest story, but it has some funny elements in it. Yeah.